What's up, y'all? My name is Aaron Mallory, aka Mr. Let Go, and today we're about to talk about the importance of setting boundaries with everybody. I mean, everybody. Let's get it. All right, let's start off with a conversation I had with a friend of mine the other day. She just met this guy. They've been going out for about a month and she's pretty happy, but she has one issue. The longer they're around each other, the more he wants to see her. That's a good thing, right? But he wants to see her every day. And she's thinking like, hey, this is a good thing, but I still want to date. Dating means dating. And if I run into another person that wants to take me out, I want to go out with that person because that's what dating is about, right? I said, exactly. So what I suggested for her to do is to simply communicate with the guy. Let him know that she's open to spend time with him 1 or 2 times a week, but not necessarily more than that. This is setting boundaries in the beginning, because sometimes when things start rolling, it's hard for you to start telling a person that, hey, I don't want to spend that much time with you. And you've been spending that much time with them, because now you may hurt the person's feelings. You may make the person start thinking that you don't like them. So the easiest thing to do is to nip it in the bud in the beginning. So you set a time boundary. Hey, let's continue to go out 1 or 2 times a week. I know you want to see me more, and I love that. But at the end of the day, I have to set healthy boundaries with everybody. See, this is letting another person know that you are a boundary setter. This is very important. No matter who it is, if you just met that person, you're just being around that person for the first time, it's important for that person to know that you are somebody that is aware of their own boundaries. A lot of people aren't. And what happens is, the longer that person is around you and they're able to overstep certain boundaries, or you have no boundaries, you're going to lose control of your own narrative. Like, say in this particular situation with this guy, he can start saying, hey, I'm about to come over there. Hey, let's go do this. Hey, let's go do that. And you can get into a position where you're afraid of saying no because this person is used to controlling the narrative. See, it's very important for any person to earn more time with you. They don't just get all of your time. You just met that person. You may want to go out with another person. You may just need your you time. So when you do this and you let that person know, like, all right, we can go out once a week, twice a week. Now that causes that person to, 1, respect your boundaries, but 2, they may be a little bit more curious now, because now they're thinking like, why can't I only see this person once a week? Are they dating somebody else? Do I have to earn more time with this person? Now that person may actually be more into you because they want to see you more, because now they know that they have to earn it. Second example is this. I was talking to a woman who told me that her kids are driving her nuts. And I simply told her, set boundaries with your kids. And she said, boundaries with kids? They're kids. How do you set boundaries with children? I understand with a guy or somebody else, but children? So yeah, I explained to her a simple concept called mommy time. Regardless of what time of day it is, let your kids know that between this time and this time is mommy time. And I'm about to go in my room, or I'm about to go over here and spend time with myself without you coming around me. You can look at it as time on a clock, or you can look at it as time with a show. Like, say their favorite cartoon comes on at 5 o'clock, right? You let them know that between this time of when your cartoon comes on and when your cartoon goes off, I'm going to go over here and you spend your time looking at your cartoon, and I'm going to spend my time doing this over here. And when your show is on, you cannot come over in my area. Your area is over here and my area is over here. And this gives you boundaries with your children. And you can do this multiple times in a day. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you can say when this particular cartoon comes on or at 1 o'clock, it is what? Make them say it. They'll say, mommy time. Right. Uh-oh, it's 1 o'clock. It's what? Mommy time. So now it's embedded in their head that come 1 o'clock, it's mommy time. Let me leave mommy alone. Or when this particular cartoon or show comes on, it's mommy time. Okay, what if you have a problematic best friend? You're always there for that friend, but they seem to have all these things going on in their lives. And the second you see them call, you know it's some type of issue, right? Well, it's important for you to set boundaries with that particular person. Say you have a problematic friend that seems to always be going through something and you're their go-to person. What if this person is literally draining you emotionally, but this is something that they're used to doing? Simple. All you have to do is let that particular person know that we're going to only have a 1 time a week vent session. So that means if your boyfriend did this, I'm here for you. But after you vent, you are not able to vent to me again until next week. That's simple. There's no arguments. There's no nothing. Because guess what? This is your life. This is your energy. These are your emotions. This is your time. And nobody wants to just sit on a phone and listen to somebody's problems 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. Set your boundaries with that person. And if that person gets mad, who cares? They're your best friend. They're not going anywhere. They're problematic. You're possibly the only sane person in their lives. You actually think they're going to go somewhere? And if they do, who cares? They're the problematic friend. Let them go. What if the person that you need to set boundaries with is your mate? Boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. What if you don't want sex as much as the other person? This can happen with men as well as women. Sometimes men, their sex drive isn't as potent as it used to be, and they don't necessarily want to have sex as much. So it's not just a woman thing. What do? You let the person know. You simply be real with them and say, hey, I don't want to have sex as much as I used to. And it's not about you. It's about that I'm getting older. So let's have sex a little less. And if this person is your mate and you talk to them in a way that it's not making them feel like it's something that they did wrong, they'll understand. See, a lot of men masturbate even when they're in a relationship or a marriage. And because of this, we may not want to have sex as much. Or as far as women, from what I've heard, women, when they're tired, they don't necessarily want to have sex as much, depending on what's going on in their lives. And a guy may just sit here and say, well, just roll over. Well, just do this and just let me do this. That is not the way it works. And it's important for both of us to respect the other person's boundaries. Now, that's just with sex. What about other things? What about room or space? What if you live in a house with somebody and you need your alone time away from your mate and not just with your kids? What do you do about this? Of course, your mate, they want to be up under you. They want to look at TV up under you all the time. They want to tell you about their day. Like, how do you separate yourself from somebody that you love that's in the same house as you? Look for a space in your house and you put a flag in that space and say, this is my blank. Like, men will say, hey, this is my man cave. Don't come into my man cave when I just got off work. I need time to be in my man cave. It could be the basement. It could be a particular room in the house. It can be a particular space in the actual room. Like, for example, say you buy a desk, right? And it's just a desk and a laptop. And you let that person know that, hey, I need my space in this little area right here. So don't put any of your stuff over here. Can I just have this particular space for myself? And when I'm over here at my desk, at my laptop, that is my me time. Is that okay? See, this is totally different than sitting in your bed with your laptop. When you take a space out of the room or space out of the house and say, this is my space, are you okay with that? That begins to be something that the other person now has to respect. And when they see you over at your desk, at your laptop, they know to leave you alone for a certain amount of time. Now, of course, you don't want to spend too much time away from that person. Now you'll make that person feel unloved. But at the end of the day, it's important for you to communicate with that person and say, hey, I love you. We're together. We're in the same house together, but I still need my me time. And this is for men as well as women. When I was married, I had a room in the house that was my man cave. I had like a futon. It wasn't even fixed up. It was just a little room that had my stuff in it. And at certain times of the day where I would just be in my man cave and my kids would come in and say, Daddy, they'll knock on the door, the side of the door. The door wouldn't be closed. They'll knock on the door and say, Daddy, I have a question. They don't just run in there and say, Daddy, Daddy, because they know when Daddy is in his man cave, you have to knock first. And it gave me my boundaries. They can come in and spend time with me. They can come in the man cave. I can help them with their homework. But overall, they first have to knock on the door. And that was my way of establishing my boundaries. Now, how did it work with my wife? Well, my wife just didn't come in the man cave at all. It wasn't knocking, it wasn't anything. She'll just wait for me to come out, And then when I'm done spending me time with me, I'll come out, spend time with her and my kids. And while I'm having me time, guess what? She's having her time. So it worked for both of us. Hey, let's do this. This is going to be fun. Pause the video and comment below who the number one person that you have the biggest problem saying no to. I want to see something. I think this is going to be interesting. What about physical boundaries? What if you don't want certain people touching you or pushing you or leaning on you when they're laughing, and you don't necessarily want to look like this confrontational person or this person that is like being unreasonable or unfriendly? Well, you simply let that coworker know or that family member know or whoever know that, hey, I don't really like it when you push me. I don't really like it when you touch on me or whatever. Like, keep your space. Because depending on who the person is, they're not necessarily close enough to you emotionally for you to hurt that person's feelings. If this is a coworker, you let them like, yo, I don't really like the whole touchy-feely stuff. We have to get away from being people pleasers to all these people in our life. Because if you continue to allow people, even your kids, to step over boundaries, you're not necessarily going to be happy. And the key to life isn't money, it isn't success. It's simply happiness. What about family members? What if you have a mom, you have an aunt, you have a sister, you have a cousin, you have a brother that has a lot of issues, whether it's health issues or whether it's life issues. And they're always asking you to borrow money. They're always asking you to do favors for them. Somebody may not have a car, and for some reason, they've obligated you to pick them up from work every couple days or every day, or your mom guilt you to picking her up and taking her here and taking her there. Or you have an aunt, she wants to tell you about somebody else in the family and she's real gossipy. How do you set boundaries with family members? The one thing I want you to understand about family in particular is that they will drive you nuts if you allow them to. I used to look at a show called The Sopranos, right? And this was a gangster movie where a guy was a mob boss. And the biggest thing in his life that was stressing him the most wasn't the crime, it wasn't the feds, it wasn't the police, It wasn't other crews trying to shoot and kill him. It wasn't all of that. It was his mother. She guilt tripped him virtually every single day. And he felt like crap. And what ended up happening was he started having panic attacks. And it wasn't necessarily about all these things that was going on in his life. It was his mother. Because every time he talked to her, she would guilt him into doing more things for her. She'll sit around saying like, oh my God, see, you're the best son. Your brother was this, or so-and-so is that. I love you more than everybody else. And because of that, he felt obligated to continue to do all these things for this feeling that I'm the favorite son. And it was really her manipulating him instead of him being her favorite son. You don't have to be somebody's favorite niece, nephew, son, daughter no. These particular people will manipulate you until you're dead. Make sure that person in your life knows that you have a life of your own and you need your own time. And it's not necessarily fair for that person to guilt trip you into doing all these things for them. I know plenty people who feel like that they have to do all these things for the mother, the father, for the uncle. They may be sick, and the other siblings or the other people in the family, they don't have to do anything. I mean, you may have a brother or a sister and you're doing all these things for your mom, and the other sibling isn't doing anything. And since you're the favorite, or you're the person that has been crowned as the matriarch or the patriarch of the family, you feel like you're just that person that has to do it. No, you go to your siblings, you go to the other people who have the ability to help an older person in the family, and you let that particular person know like, hey, we need to split these duties. I don't know what happened, but I'm doing way more than you are, and it's not necessarily fair. Or you go to the older person in your family that keeps guilting you to do all these things, and you let that particular person know like, hey, I think it would help me out if you were to ask other people in the family for help and not just me. Because this can be financial. I know so many people that feel like they are obligated financially to other family members. You have a life just like that other person has a life, and it's your life. And it's important for you to tell that particular person no when you need to. You're not going to hurt that particular person's feelings. It doesn't mean you don't love that particular person, and you are your own priority. So whether it's your kids, whether it's your family members, whether it's your coworkers, whether it's your mate, this is your life. This is your time. And if you love yourself, you have to show other people that you love yourself by setting boundaries. A lot of people have no idea of what their actual boundaries are because they're so used to doing all these things for other people. But I need you to understand this. You may be a people pleaser. And if you are a people pleaser, you're going to continue to have these problems over and over again. And it's not them, it's possibly you. It's important for you to set healthy boundaries with everyone or suffer the consequences of being somebody's slave. Love yourself enough to say no. I repeat, love yourself enough to say no. Now, if this video was able to help you, share a clip of it or the whole video on your Facebook page or in your Instagram stories. A lot of people are dealing with boundary problems, and this video may open their eyes to a lot of different things. Shoot, share it to the people that you're having problems setting boundaries with. Give them something to think about, because they may start looking at themselves like, wow, it may help you help them, or help them help you. So with all that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and set some boundaries with some people in your life this week.